Hello everyone and welcome to the Staggers Family channel. It's story time. Yes, it's story time. And the story is about me. Y'all gonna see the title anyway. But as y'all know, I already have a daughter and a son, Angel and Erica, which I saw them in the videos. But this is not about them. I have another daughter. Yes, I have another daughter. She is not with me. And I'm going to explain why, what happened, and all that type of stuff. So basically from the beginning to the end. Okay? Of things I remember. All right. So my daughter, she's the oldest, and her name is Loranda. And her birthday is actually April 14th of, her birthday's coming up. And she's going to be 20 years old. But I basically lost her to the system. And y'all know what I mean when I say system. I don't even have to say the name and all that type of stuff. But I lost her in the system. I got pregnant with her at the age of 16. And I had her when I was 17. And so basically, if I had her at the age of 16 and she was born April 14, 2005, then most likely I conceived with her around July 14, 2004. So basically I was, in the beginning of my pregnancy when my sister was pregnant with my niece, because my niece is also born, she's born in 2004. And, she's the oldest out of Loranda. She big cuz. And matter of fact, the funny thing about it is me and my aunt, my mom's sister, we was actually pregnant at the same time. But my aunt, she was more further along. Like I said, my daughter was born April 14, 2005. And my aunt, she had my cousin, which is my godson, in March 7, 2005. Yeah, so we was pregnant around the same time. And I had her, all the way to newborn, and was able to do her first birthday until this, people was, going around, and it was family wise, was going around saying I wasn't, doing this and doing that, what I had to do and stuff for my child and stuff. Doctors, which was family as well, said the same thing. And I'm not perfect, you know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect. I was trying to take care of her, but I ain't had no help. I didn't have no help. The only one that was helping me was my grandparents, God rest their soul. Like if I had to go to school, because I was, mind you, I was still in high school when I had my daughter, Loranda. I was still in high school. So, I had to get my work done and stuff like that. And even though my grandparents was elderly and they had a lot on their plate as well, they still had watched her while I go to school. Oh, and I also was working as well. I was working at a daycare. So they also was watching her then. But I didn't want to put too much on them, than what they already had on them. So I used to have other people, watch her and stuff. Family at that. And they wasn't really paying attention to her and stuff. And yeah, they wasn't paying attention to her and stuff. So I started bringing her with me everywhere I go. Everywhere I go and stuff. And mind you, she was 1 year old. 1 year old's gonna get into things. They're gonna fall. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna fall. So she was walking around the age. Well, she had hard times of walking and stuff, but like she was like kind of like taking baby steps and stuff. But she had fell one time and she had she had like a little bruise like around, like right here, like above her eye. And first thing somebody say, "Oh, you're bruising your child." No, I'm not bruising my child. Kids gonna fall. And mind you, the doctor was family. Was family. They was family. Went behind and called the peoples on me. Called the peoples on me. So they came into my life, into my daughter's life. And that's when my whole life had changed. My whole life had changed. I had her first birthday party. It was Dora the Explorer. That was her favorite character. I used to always, dress her nice. When I bring her places, I make sure she fed. I make sure she clothed right. For the weathers. Even when we was going to church, I used to have, like these big baby bags, and I used to make sure she had her little cereal inside, her bottles, her pacifiers, extra clothes, extra diapers, extra baby cloths, birth cloths, all that. So when the people's had came into my life or whatever or whatnot, they tried to say I was slow. They tried to say I was slow. I wasn't capable of taking care of a baby by myself. So they took me to this place where you get, the Social Security income and stuff. And it was like I had electoral disability. I don't know if I'm saying it right. And there is a reason why I'm not slow, but sometime in my mind, I just think a lot. I just think a lot. And there's a reason why my mind is like that. But that could be for another story. This is about, Loranda. So I go, they try to like take my child away and stuff, from me and stuff. And I'm doing whatever it takes to keep her in my care. Because once some people's come into your life, it's hard to get, it's hard for them to leave. Because they will hit you with everything. Everything. They will hit you with everything to prevent you from taking care of your kids. And they decided to take her because, she kept coming to, every time they kept visiting, she had like, she had like a couple scratches on her face, but her nails, it was her nails. You know what I'm saying? I cut them as the best way I can, but baby's going to scratch. I used to put the glove things, the mittens on her hands. She used to take them off. She was a very active baby back then. So, yeah. So, then, no. What happened was, okay, now I remember this one. What happened was, I couldn't get along with a relative that was we used to, we both were staying at my grandparents' house and we could not get along and stuff. And me trying to be responsible, be an adult and all that type of stuff. I was 17, but I was about to be 18. I decided to pack up me and my daughter's stuff. And my grandparents like, where are you going to go? And they were trying to convince me to stay and stuff. And I was like, no, I cannot stay here because it's not going to get nowhere. Things are not going to get nowhere. So I ended up staying with another relative. And it was a lot of people staying there as it is. And they came and visit one time, the peoples. They came and visit one time, and then yeah, that's when they decided to take her. Because they was like, there was no room, for her. There basically wasn't no room for me. Yada yada yada. So they was like, we're gonna have to take her, and you're gonna have to go through the court. Fast forward, they had me do so much. I did everything to prove to them that I am capable of taking care of my child. It wasn't enough for them. It was not enough. Not a single thing. Not a single nothing. I did all that stuff for nothing. Fast forward. They had me do visitations. And I had just graduated high school So I had to go back and forth to visit, to visit her, at the people's place. Then they had me go to anger management classes, which I don't know what for. Yeah, because they were saying I was bruising her, so they was like, "Oh, you gotta go to anger management classes." So I just did that, I just went to anger management classes just so I can get my child back. I was doing whatever they wanted me to do so I can get my child back, point blank. So I went to anger management classes. Then they wanted me to take parenting classes. I went to parenting classes. See, I didn't have my mom at that time in my life. And I don't need to go into details and stuff. But she was going through a lot too. And she also had my sister to take care of. So my grandparents, before my sister was born, my grandparents helped her raise me. And then ever since, as I got older, I was staying with my grandparents. So I really didn't have, no help. And, my grandparents are doing the best, they can. But like I said, they had their own, problems, their own things that they had to do. And then, my grandmother, she was taking care of my grandfather because my grandfather, he, was a diabetic. And so she had to make sure he was, straight and stuff. And, she couldn't, stop every 5 minutes, when, to check on, she had to check like every 5 minutes to check and see what Loranda was doing and stuff. It was just like, I feel like it was just too much on her. But yeah, fast forward. So I went to anger management classes. I did the parenting classes. I did visitations. When it was time to go to court, first time we went to court, at first she was at the people's place, and then the second time she went to go stay with a foster family for the time being. She went to go stay with a foster family for the time being until the judge at the court had made his final decision. I even was this close. They was confusing me. They was like, "Oh, well, maybe you should get a place." That's what I did. I was this close on Section 8, about to get an apartment. My name was right there on the top of the list. I was the second one there. The second name on that list. I had to let it go. I had to give it to somebody else. Because the people's was like, with your intellectual disability, we don't think you're capable of taking care of her by yourself. I even tried to ask people to come stay with me to help me. That didn't work out. So I had no choice but to let it go. I had no choice. No choice at all. Fast forward. The final decision. We go to court. it seemed like everybody was on my side. It seemed like everybody was on my side. Doctors, family. Oh, you're gonna get your daughter back. Don't worry. Yada yada yada. Soon as I went to court for the final decision, the ones I thought was so close to me testified against me. Testify against me. Made me seem like I was an unfit mother. All I could do was cry. All I could do was on the stand and cry. After everything I did, all the classes I took, it still wasn't enough. Tried to get an apartment and I had to let it go. Even had got a second job. Still not enough. Because when I was working at the daycare, I also had got a job at Shakes. It still wasn't enough. I tried to ask people to take her. This was before my rights got taken away. I even tried to have people to, take her so I can get myself together. It was nothing but excuses. It was nothing but excuses. It was nothing but favoritism. And it was the closest ones to me that stabbed me in the back. And after to this day, I am always there for them when they need me. Do I still think about what had happened years ago? Yes, I still think about it. Do I forgive them? Yes. I forgive them. I still love them because God is a forgiving God and God is love. And now me and my mom is doing better. Our bond is stronger than ever. And she been there for me and still there for me to this day. Me and the other relatives be doing okay. We just so much alike. But yeah, the final decision, got my rights taken. The dad got his rights taken. But God did bless her into a family that was known. My godmother had knew the lady, and she was telling me how nice she was and stuff. She used to do her hair and stuff. And after my rights was taken and stuff, the adopted mom, she let me come visit her and stuff. It was up to her. She let me, visit her and stuff. I used to meet them at McDonald's or Chuck E. Cheese. I used to, pay for it and stuff because I wanted to still show that even though she got taken away from me, which wasn't fair, but life isn't fair. But even though she had got taken out of my care, I still wanted her to know that I will always be there for her. But then true colors start showing. So now, me and adopted mom not seeing eye to eye. Me and my daughter not seeing eye to eye. My daughter, like I said, she is about to be 20. She blames me for her being taken out of my care. And her being older, she should be able to, you know, say, oh, I want to go visit my mom, my siblings, even though they're, even though they live, down south. You would think she would make that effort. Because Loranda is smart. She's smart. All my kids are smart. I had C-sections with all three of them. Every one of them epidural. But yeah. So I ended I just let her go. I let her go. I felt like I felt like her and the adopted mom, I felt like the adopted mom turned my daughter against me. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. But I let go and I let God. I let God handle that situation. So that is my story. And I'm going to let y'all go. If y'all enjoyed this video and y'all made it to the end, give it a thumbs up and I really appreciate it. If y'all are new to our channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And I will see y'all in the next video. And I'm out. Peace.